Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about alternate interior angles for lesson 14, and then you will also later do lesson 15 today. It says, let's explore why some angles are always equal. Find the angle measure of angle JGH. Explain or show your reasoning. Well, at the end of last year, we had talked about angles on a line. So first off, here is the angle that we are trying to find. This is your line that both of those angles are on. You know one angle is 30 degrees. Now, let's remember angles on a line equal 180 degrees. You need to make sure you write that on your notes. The angles on a line are 180 degrees. Okay? So, if that line is 180 degrees, how many degrees is JGH? Well, you can take 180 and subtract the 30 from it, and you would find JGH, which should be 150 degrees. Awesome. And your explanation would be angles on a line. Okay, so number 2 says, and I'm going to erase some of this so that I can help you guys look at number 2. So number 2 says, find and label a second 30-degree angle in the diagram. Find and label an angle congruent to JGH. So like we said, JGH is 150 degrees. Okay, we know that. Now, there was a thing that we talked about again at the end of last year, and they're called vertical angles. Vertical angles are always equal. So if you look here, we have a couple sets of vertical angles. Vertical angles are right across from each other. So this angle is vertical to this angle because they share this vertex here. Okay? And then this angle here is vertical to this angle here. So in my notes, I would write HGI equals 30 degrees because it's vertical to, and that's JGF. Then you'll also want to write that FGI is equal to 150 degrees because it's vertical to, and that was JGH. Awesome. Okay, make sure that you have all of this written down in your notes, and then we'll move on to the next slide. The next slide says, cutting parallel lines with a transversal. Lines AC and DF are parallel. Okay, so parallel means that they're literally just right across from each other. Those two lines will never, ever, ever touch. That's parallel. And it says they are cut by transversal HJ. So this is your transversal. And a transversal is literally a line that cuts two parallel lines. Okay? All right. So now for question 1, and we're not going to do it with a partner. You're just going to do it on your own. So for question 1, it says, find the 7 unknown angle measures in the diagram. Explain your reasoning. Now, when I say it, you're going to want to make sure you write this out. And I'll try to at least write a letter by it so that you remember, but please write them out. Okay. So, ABE, we already know. That one is 63 degrees. And you'll just write given next to that because it's given. Don't just write G, you write given. Okay, then it says EBC. So let me find that one. EBC, right here. Okay, so EBC is right next to that one there that we already know. Those are angles on a line. So you're going to want to type that or write that in your notes. EBC are angles on a line with ABE. So since that's the case, you're going to do 180 minus 63. Okay, so do that in your calculator, 180 minus 63, and you should find that it's 117. Oops. And you're going to write that they're on a line with ABE. Okay? All right. So now CBJ. So I'm going to erase all of this. Okay, so CBJ, right there. It is vertical to ABE. So right next to that, you're going to write vertical, and make sure you write what it's vertical to, ABE. So therefore it's equal, and it's going to be 63 degrees. Make sure that you know this, because on the homework and on the exit ticket, you're going to have to explain with things like angle on a line or vertical. Okay? All right. The last one in that little section is going to be JBA. So what do you think it is? JBA. What do you think it is? Hopefully you said 117, because it is vertical to EBC. Make sure you write that down. Okay, so here's where we're going to get into something a little bit new, something you haven't seen before. So we're going to have different angles, and what they're called are alternate interior and alternate exterior. Okay, now here's the deal. We could take our tracing paper, so this might be a good idea to do right now. On your book, you can take your tracing paper and you can trace right here. And write what angle measurements you have. You had 63, 117, 117, 63. Take your tracing paper and just give it a little slide and move it up around here. Now, see if you can fill in all of the other angles based off of that. And you should be able to, so go ahead. When you did that, this angle here ended up here. Okay? This angle here ended up here. This one here was here. And this one here was also here. Okay? So you should be able to fill all of those in now. So DEH was 63 degrees, and HEF was 117 degrees. FEB was 63 degrees, and DEB was 117 degrees. Now, these ones here, your reason is going to be that it was a rigid transformation for now. So you have a rigid transformation there. It says, what do you notice about the angles with the vertex of B and the angles with the vertex of E? So if you look under all of my writing, here's your vertexes. So we have vertex B right here, and we have vertex E up here. And you should notice that they are all equal. Okay, great job. So the next thing that I want you to do is write down these words. So hold on just a second. Okay, so now while you guys are doing this, I just want you to think about these two phrases. We have alternate interior and alternate exterior. Some of these angles that we just talked about are alternate interior and some of them are alternate exterior, and I just want you to think about those for now, but I'm not going to go into exactly what they are yet. All right, let's move. Okay, it says, using what you noticed, find the measures of the four angles at point B in the second diagram. Lines AC and DF are parallel. So, in order for this to work, your lines have to be parallel. And they just told you that those two lines are parallel. And then don't forget, this line here is your transversal. Okay, I want you to pause the video and I want you to write down all of the angles and I want you to figure out how many degrees all of the angles are using what we just did. Okay, so pause the video and go ahead and find those. Okay, so what you should have done was first find your angles on a line over on point E. So when I did that, I should have known that since that's 34, okay, you're going to do 180, if you haven't already, minus 34, and you get 146. I can know these two, well, I can know one angle and I can get all the other ones, okay? So remember how I told you guys about the word alternate exterior? Now remember, you can trace these, but remember alternate exterior, so I'm looking on the exterior, and these two are alternating on exterior sides. So they're going to be 146, both of them, okay? Then look here, 34, alternate exterior, 34 degrees, okay? Now, we can also find your interior angle because these are vertical. So based on, I can find an alternate exterior angle, and then I can go from there. 34 is vertical to this, so it'll also be 34. 146 is vertical here, so that one will be 146 degrees. And now I have all of the ones that they asked me for. You're welcome to fill the other ones in. These are 34 and 146. You have to be able to explain, especially in the test, you're going to have to be able to explain how you get those. So our main ones are going to be alternate interior, alternate exterior, vertical, and then angles on a line. Angles on a line are supplementary because they're 180 degrees, okay? All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, the next diagram resembles the first one, but the lines form slightly different angles. So we're not working with a partner, but find the 6 unknown angles. So I'm going to go just based off of vertical angles. So 108 is this angle here. So this one is also 108. Okay. I'm going to do 180 minus 108. And I will get the other angle, the supplementary angle or angle on a line, which is 72. And then this one is vertical, so I get 72 as well. Okay, I could take my tracing paper and I can trace that and I can put it right on top of here. But what I'm going to find out is these angles are not going to be equal, okay? So now I'll have to go ahead and I'll have to do this set all by itself based on angles on a line and vertical. So go ahead and do that if you haven't already. So to figure out EBC, I'm going to do 180 minus 63, and you'd get 117. So this one's 117 degrees. These two are vertical, 63, and these two are vertical, 117. Okay, so now we found all of our angles. It says, what do you notice about this diagram as compared to the earlier diagram? How are the two different? How are they the same? So I think that what we should have noticed was this diagram doesn't have parallel lines. You can only do the alternate interior and exterior if you have parallel lines, okay? So, how are these the same? Well, something that's the same is that you can do vertical and the supplementary, which are angles on a line. And then the different part is they're not the same. So angles around points are not equal, like we had done before with the tracing paper. So those angles around the point are not equal. Great. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next. For today, we're going to skip this, but we might go back to it. So don't cross it out. We're just going to skip it for today. If you want to work on it on your own, you are welcome to do so. Okay, 14.3, it says alternate interior angles are congruent. So that's the one we haven't looked at, is the alternate interior. But I think you guys could have gotten the picture based on what we talked about with alternate exterior. It says line L and K are parallel and T is a transversal. So that means that this will work because we have those parallel lines. Point M is the midpoint of segment PQ. Okay. It says find a rigid transformation showing that MPA, so where is that at? MPA and MBQ, or MQB, are congruent. So go ahead. I want you to use your tracing paper and try to find a rigid transformation. So remember, your rigid transformation is going to be, is it a translation, is it a reflection, or is it a rotation? So go ahead and do that. Okay, so what you should have found was that you could put this on tracing paper. So I would put this on tracing paper and I would rotate around point M, and you're going to find that when you do a rotation, okay, so it's going to be a rotation, rotate 180 degrees around M. Okay, when you do that, you should end up right on here. Okay, remember when you're rotating and it's 180 degrees, you don't have to say whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise, but if you want to, you can. Okay, question 2. We might have fourth. Okay, so question 2 says, in this picture, lines L and K are no longer parallel, and M is still the midpoint. Does your argument in the earlier problem apply in this situation? So no, it's not going to work because L and M are not parallel. So no, because L and M are not parallel. Great job. Okay, remember, like big takeaway from today is that you have to have the angles or the lines that are parallel in order to do alternate exterior and alternate interior angles. Okay? When you read through the lesson summary, I want you to make sure that you highlight specific things. Like they talk about, oops, I didn't have my highlighting tool on. They talk about supplementary, okay? And they talk about vertical. So supplementary and vertical. The next page, that's where they talk about our transversal, alternate interior angles, and then I think they skip out on alternate exterior, but we kind of talked about that. So please make sure that you read this very, very carefully. All right? All right, make sure that you watch the next lesson because both lessons are going to be counted for today. Have a great day.